Good evening. We're going to call the September 8th Transportation Committee meeting to order. Madam Secretary called Chris Floor and Dempsey Lambert are absent because of work, I believe. And Mr. Randy Kluwart's going to leave us in the prayer, followed by the pledge.
Please rise. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we'd like your blessings on this meeting, and let us move forward and do good things for the people of Ascension Parish. Lord, once again, we thank you for carrying us thus far through the hurricane season with no life, loss, or injury, or loss to our community. We ask that you look over us for the rest of the season and throughout the time. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll move on to the public comment period. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item, please sign in. You have 3 minutes to speak. Move on to number 4, which is the Road Department monthly report for August 2009. This is Jackie Bowman.
Good evening, Councilman. Before you'll see the new cartograph printout for our work order system. We included a summary for each of your individual district and then the entire grass cutting report. This report was just the first trial by IT, and so it does have drainage on there, and that'll be corrected for next month. But in summary, we completed 194 work orders parish-wide, which totaled $126,981 in labor, equipment, and materials. That does not include the grass cutting, which summarized grass cutting and spraying. We covered 302 miles parish-wide. And like I said, we're going to be tweaking this report, but for first month, this is the format we're going to be submitting. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I think it's a big plus, the work order system, something we didn't have in the past, and it's beneficial to us big time. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any questions, Mr. Joseph?
No questions. Thank you.
Jackie? We'll move on to number 5, if that's all you have with it. Road project status updates.
For our parish projects, we're currently finishing the head wall on the Roddy Road bridges and preparing for asphalt. I don't have an exact date for asphalt, but it should be next week. I don't know if it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but we're hoping to get that back open next week. For Westworthy widening, tonight we'll be asking your approval to bid the clearing and grubbing contract so we can get that advertised. The last right of entries and paperwork we needed to do, we've finalized to move that project forward. For Roddy Road widening, that right-of-way acquisition is moving along very well, and we're approximately 65% complete. For the 04 intersection program, Roddy Road at Airline, turn lane, the first advertisement will show up September 15th, which is Tuesday, in the paper. 2 of those major right-of-way parcels are on your agenda tonight for acquisition approval. The turn lanes at 621 in Airline and 929 in Airline, right-of-way maps are 90% complete. As soon as those are reviewed, which they'll be reviewed by me Thursday, we'll finalize those and start acquisition on those properties. For LA 932 at 933, right-of-way acquisition is also underway, and I'm also meeting on those maps Thursday. The 07 intersection widening project, Seabro turn lane at Bluff, Swamp Road turn lane at Perkins, and Henry Road turn lane at 73 are all under construction. And what's not on here, and it's being advertised currently, is Henry Road Bridge will be removed starting Monday, September 14th. So that bridge is going to close Monday, September 14th, and scheduled to open October 15th. So approximately 1 month to tear the whole bridge out and replace it. And just to give you an update on state projects, LA 73 widening, the Secretary of DOTD plans to advertise that for bidding in May of 2010. LA 44 safety study, DOTD recently issued a notice to proceed for a consultant to do that study. LA 431 safety studies completed the stage 0. They've estimated to spend $3 million, which is going to start at a roundabout at 42 and 431, and then some lighting improvements, and then see what funding is left to work on some turn lane improvements in areas where they have safety issues. 73 mill and overlay. Mr. Grant and myself are working for stimulus funds to do that mill and overlay. And just so you're updated, Cornerview Road, the mill and overlay is bidding. It bid in August, so that project should be moving forward. Does anyone have any questions?
One question, talking to Representative Smiley, that Highway 431 was going to be in a future near project, for a straight laning. Parish President, you have any?
Basically,
You kind of told me it was going to be shortly. That's why I'm wondering.
Well, we talked about it the other night. That's $3 million. I think that's what the project that Jack is talking about. And what they want to do is a roundabout at 42 and 431. The Gold Place 0 stage is done. So that should be being put out soon also, at least for
Design.
engineering.
For engineering design.
Yeah, and design. There's about 6 intersections there that need to be, but the main goal is the 3-lane 431.
Right.
Basically from 931 to Airline. That's the project that Mert's talking about. Now, I don't know if that's been funded. We got $3 million actually to do these turn lanes
Turn
right now,
lanes
to do
and-
the safety in it.
okay.
And the safety that they want to do is basically lighting, I think, is what DOTD wants to do. Put some lighting at some of these corners and intersections. So,
Okay.
but there's going to be some activity on 431 in the near future at Gold Place and also at 42, and whatever money's left, it may go all to lighting. I don't know. We
Yeah.
still in talking to them about it in discussion. So,
All right. Thank you. Any more questions?
No.
For Ms. Jackie on this report? Okay, Ms. Jackie, we move on to number 6, approval of 2010 AO-81 and 2010-SC-8102 road construction projects.
These projects we're asking approval for would be our 2010 maintenance projects. Both lists are roads that Clint Kennerly is working on plans for, and we're going to be doing some coring and testing, and we'd want to move forward with those projects to have them ready to bid in January of 2010.
And that's for both projects? You
Both.
wanna have
We're
them
going to
both
run
ready
them at the
for it?
same time.
Okay. And I guess all the council have time to look at these roads to make sure they don't have any change in them. Any questions?
No, I just, have a second?
Sure. You got the floor, Mr. Floyd.
Yeah, I just, we're getting into, we're constantly talking about the road improvements on the parish roads, and the constant, the dollar figures. Tommy, I guess you're very familiar with it, and both you, Jackie, your crew is also, that the amount of money we spend on land acquisition on some of these widening these roads, and and trying to improve the roads to get them safer. I know it's probably not a new idea, but I hadn't been around that long, but maybe we take a look at the cost of just some places. If we're looking at 10, 15 years down the line before we can actually acquire land, widen road, and get money to do that, look at filling in the ditches, put culverts in them, and put catch basins, fill in the ditches, because I mean, I'm all over the state, and I see places where municipalities are widening roads, and hey, catch basin started out outside the road, then it ended up halfway in the road, and it's just a matter of life, and it serves the road progress of the community for 20 years, something like that. So, I don't know the dollar figures associated with all that, and I know we're looking at trying to get parish-wide sewer and everything's going to go along our roads. So that would be something that if we have some places that are really, really getting to be more bothersome to us and get more, hazardous that we can take a look at just doing that. Yeah.
I completely agree with that, and I don't know the exact cost. I know Mr. Bob and I had looked at right of way is so expensive. It would be in our best interest to buy less right of way and make a better road. But I want to remind everyone that it is against DHH rules for me to collect these sewer effluents into a stormwater pipe system, which basically we need to have a parish sewer system in order to pipe the ditches and do it the right way. They kind of go hand in hand. So I fully support the curb and gutter section. We just need to figure out what we're going to do with sewer effluent and hopefully have a parish system.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're talking about a certain amount of feet, we have decent servitude on a lot of roads. We just don't have room to widen the road out and go ahead and put the ditch over. And we run into constantly moving utilities, which moves slow. It probably moves as slow as getting land acquisition, you know. So, you know, if you got a certain amount of feet there, you can put drainage, stormwater drainage. That's what I'm talking about. And then there may be some footage on side of that that you can use for utilities such as sewer drainage. Mr. President.
Mr. President, yes.
Anytime you have federal funds or state funds involved in any project, you're going to have sanitary sewer. You just can't put culverts in and enclose a ditch. That's been one of the main problems on 73 and 42 at this point. That's why we had to spend $1.5 million on 73 and probably going to spend close to $3 million on 42 parish money to be able to at least widen or add capacity to them.
Yeah.
On parish roads, we are looking at the possibility. We're going to got some money scheduled for Cannon this year in some of the places to hopefully make it safer, just to put some culverts in. I think we're going to spend, talked to Jackie about this today, about what, $700-something on acquiring right away on the projects that we have for next year, the widening projects. I think it's $775,000, $800,000. So again, that's a big cost, but again, it's not cheap to put culverts in and dirt and all that too. So you'd have to kind of look at both ways, and of course, main goal is to get sewer going. If we can have some sanitary sewer, you'll solve 50% of your drainage problems if you get the sewage out the ditches. Bill and Ronnie were talking about that today. A lot of the problems when people call in, that's drainage problems, not drainage problems. It's actually sewage problems. Because when you go to dig a sewer ditch, you don't have a bottom, and then the water comes back and it'll pond anyway. So, you know, it looks like your ditch will never drain. So, I mean, you know, it's imperative that we get started with parish-wide sewer, and also look at some of the areas that we have the narrowest roads, like Cannon Road and some of these other roads where you got steep ditches, to go ahead and look at the possibility of putting some culverts in, and at this time, at least do like you said, make some progress on the safety side. Yeah.
And I just want to say, I just wanted to bring that up for conversation because, you know, actually out there, in layman's terms, people say, well, this would be very easy, just do this. Now, this is good conversation that you brought up on the federal monies and stuff like that, that we got to actually isolate the sewer from the stormwater drainage. You go down, I know the roads I live on, some people have their sewer coming out the front of their house. Some people are a place where they got a ditch in the back. Well, it's just not because we have designated ditches. They just happen to have a ditch that they could put their sewer to the back, you know, so it's a hit and miss thing. It's nothing. No, thank you.
Joseph?
Yes, Ms. Jackie, what is the estimated cost for these roads?
For the two projects combined, we're around $5.5 million. Well, that's our construction estimate, which is probably conservative.
And we're within that budget?
That's what we're budgeting for 2010. That's why we're trying to get ahead and have it ready to bid in January, because that money is not in the 2009 budget. That's budgeted for 2010.
And I think I think we're going to estimate about a budget about 6.2 million, Mr. President, ballpark figure.
We had talked about 11 million next year, 6 million going to the existing widening projects to go ahead and close those out. And I think we had $1 million going to Cannon. The other 5 was basically overlay and preservation. So that's the road that you see. Now, you got to go by need, and we go out and we check the roads, and whatever the worst roads are. You can't do a unit system and look at it on the unit system when you look at roads. If you look at Livingston Parish and you read the newspapers, that's what the problem is, that they're having some problems on that. What we got to do is go the worst roads. That's the ones we're gonna fix. They may all be in one district. That's okay. But if that's where they're at, that's where we're gonna do them.
Now, I just remember what we.
But we talked about 5-6 million for
Right.
The existing widening and 5 million for overlay.
All right, thank you.
Any more questions?
So,
I guess we need you need a motion on this
Yes,
to move
please.
forward with it to the full council.
motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Randy
Second.
Kluart, second by Mr. Joseph. Any more discussion? Any objection? So move. We'll move on to number 7, cooperative endeavor agreement and annual certification of a compliance for the off-system bridge program. Mrs. Jackie.
We are asking your approval of this cooperative endeavor agreement. It's an annual reoccurring contract with DOTD. It makes us eligible for bridge funds, and they come out and help us with rating our bridges that are parish owned and maintained.
Motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Randy Kluart. Any more discussion? Any objection? So move. We'll move on to number 8, approval to advertise and receive bids for clearing and grubbing of West Worthy Road. Mr. Jackie.
We are asking your
So
approval.
Got a motion by Mr. Joseph.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kluart. Any more discussion? Objections? So move. We'll move on to number 9, installation of double yellow striping and create a no passing zone on Henry Road from 73 to LA 930. Ms. Jackie?
We are asking your approval to change the designation of Henry from passing to no passing at the request of Councilman Law. I've ridden other roads of the same width that were double yellow striped, and I feel it is a good idea to do this striping.
Motion.
Got a motion by Mr.
Second.
Kluart, second by Mr. Joseph. Any more discussion? No objection? So moved. We'll move on to number 10, purchase of property from Cheryl Boudreaux Road Trust in the amount of $83,043.50. It's on the Roddy Road, US 61 intersection, Parish Project number 2009 RR 10-01, parcel number 1. Ms. Jackie?
We are asking approval of this purchase of right-of-way. This is the corner of the airline at Roddy Turn Lane, and we are in favor of this amount, $83,043.50.
Motion.
Got a motion by
Second.
Mr. Kluart, second by Mr. Joseph. Any discussion? Any objection? So move. We'll move on to number 11, purchase of property from Richard G. and Rebecca Bonneville in the amount of $53,224. That's another Roddy Road and US 61 intersection, Parish Project. Got a motion by Mr. Kluart, second by Mr. Joseph. I guess discussion, Ms.
Right.
Jackie, after these two abort, what do we have left for us getting this project? How many more right-of-ways are we looking at, I guess?
For the turn lane, there's 4 parcels, but only 2 of those we anticipated, which are these 2 that are over the $50,000 threshold.
Okay.
SJB has met with one of the owners, and one of the 2 remaining, I'm talking about, these
Okay.
2 agreed to these. One is actually in India, so they're having some problems tracking him down, but hopefully we can figure out some legal way of getting around it, because there's one owner and he's not in the country.
Okay.
But that's what's left. We have the 2 major corners and then 2 small pieces that they're working on now.
Okay. Mr. President?
Ronnie, you want to give us a little update on that if you have anything more to add?
Good evening.
Evening.
Roddy Road intersection's moving real well. Worked with Ms. Rowe, worked with Mr. Bonneville, worked out a few kinks and they went well. The other 2 that we're focusing on right now is there's a small land hook from the White Rose hotel over there that comes out to Roddy Road. I've talked to Ms. Patel's daughter. She's very agreeable to everything. We're still working out the last little bit of numbers, but it's not going to be a major part. I went to see her the other day hoping to have it signed before this meeting, and she was in the hospital with pneumonia. She's trying to put us in touch with Mr. and Mrs. Shea, who own the property behind that. The only address that we had was a Sarasota, Florida address. Ms. Patel tells me that's where the daughter used to live, that the mother and father are in India right now. They are attempting, the mother, Ms. Patel was going to Houston the other day and thought she would be with some people that might know how to get in touch with either Ms. Shea or her daughter. We're trying to contact the post office in Sarasota, Florida to see if maybe there's on file a forwarding address. Normally on something like this, we're bound to send everything to where the tax notice goes. The tax notice goes to Sarasota, Florida, and she's moved from there. So we're working with the parish attorney's office just in case. They're about to finish up the appraisal on that one. And then we'll have to look at some different procedures if we cannot find them to maybe deposit the money and ask a judge to go ahead and let us move forward while the money's deposited until we can find them. At some point, they'll be needing to get a tax notice.
Right. Okay. Any questions?
He answered my question. I saw the legal procedure based on somebody being out the country. You can't get a hold to them,
Yes,
holding up a safety item, a road project, something that we're trying to move forward with.
Yes, sir.
We just deposit in what they say it's worth and
Yes, sir.
worry about it later.
And I'm hoping that we can get in touch with the, excuse me, with the daughter, and perhaps they've got a local counsel. From what I understand, the property owner owns a substantial amount of real estate in the state of Louisiana. So it's, I think they'll probably have an attorney either locally or regionally that we can get to. We're going back through the title reports now, looking to see if we can find any familiar names, but that's my main focus now is to find them.
Thank you. That's right.
Thank you.
We got a motion and a second. Any objections? So moved. Move on to number 12, increase in speed limit from 25 miles per hour to 35 miles per hour on Oakland Road from Oak Grove Parkway to the curve close to LA 73. Miss Jackie?
This was at the request of Councilman Laura. There's certain people that live in a subdivision behind there. In analyzing this road, it is very similar to the increase in speed we approved, or you all approved about a year ago on Swamp Road. There's very few residences right there, which is why I don't want the increase to go beyond the curve. It's a straight stretch, and I've ridden it several times at 35, so I have no objection to this increase.
Motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Clout, second by Mr. Joseph. Any more discussion? Any objection? So moved. We'll move on to number 13, the speed limit reduction in Oaks on the Bluff subdivision from 25 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour. Ms. Jackie?
We have no objection to this request in this
Got a
subdivision.
motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Kluwat. Any more discussion? Any objections? So moved. We'll move on to number 14, roads for acceptance into the parish maintenance system. Ms. Jackie, you want to go over these?
Sure. First, we request your approval of acceptance of Ultima Plaza Boulevard. It's 280 feet, and there are no remaining punch list items.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Joseph.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kluwat. Any more discussion? Any objection? So moved.
Next, for Jamestown Court subdivision, roads include Jamestown Drive, Jefferson Avenue, Richmond Drive, and Williamsburg Avenue. There are some punch list items where there's silt in the street, debris in the middle of the road. As of this morning, it had not been removed. We are sending out a letter to the developer that they have to get it cleaned up before the council meeting. So we would ask that you approve this contingent that punch list items are complete prior to next week.
I'll make,
Kluwat.
I don't have a problem making the motion. You recommended this go forward pending punch list items complete.
Pending the punch list items are complete prior to next Thursday's meeting, which what I'm going to do is go back out there and check it again before then, and then let you all know if there's still a problem.
And it's more cosmetic than anything.
It's cosmetic. It's debris in the
Debris,
road and
yeah.
silt in the road.
All
It's
right.
no physical damage.
Okay.
So if you don't agree with it, you won't put it on the agenda.
Correct.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Cloyd, second by Mr. Joseph. Any discussion? Any objection? So moved. Number 15.
I'll make that motion.
Got a
to
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Kluwat. No objection.